He's got the announcement.
Let's see here.
Are we ready to start this morning off?
Yes.
Anybody ready for a good Sunday morning? Just say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Hello. Good morning. I think we ought to. Do we do announcements first now?
We do, Don.
Let's do that.
Shall we do
Here's
that?
Reverend Moore. My goodness.
Good morning.
We're ready to roll.
I'll help us.
So,
Have we done up, Jesse?
I'm ready when you are.
All right.
Sorry.
Why don't you start
we
there?
have announcements, I
announcements
think.
first.
Yeah, we have some announcements.
Want to do announcements?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Then somebody.
Yeah. Is there anyone here for the first time? I don't see anyone. All are welcome. Indeed, all are welcome here. It's always good to see you here and feel that the presence is always with us and that we are indeed a group that forms a close bond over time, a group that grows in love and understanding. And our announcements then go somewhat like this. Please join us in fellowship after the service. Next Sunday, we'll have Soup for the Soul, our fundraiser. Craft Day is coming November 2nd. Details to follow. Serenity during the holidays, November the 3rd, Sunday, from 1 to 3. This is a delightful workshop led by Cheryl Guess. The Faces of Gratitude workshop, November 16th. And join us for the Friday book. That one will be led by Cheryl Ostrander. And join us for the Friday group study book, The Mastery of Self, a Toltec Guide to Personal Freedom. Child care is available. Confidential prayer requests are in the pew. And if you're feeling to be of service, please let us know. We're looking for someone with some skills in transferring files on the computer. And more about that if you ask me. Science of Mind magazine is available. Is there anything else that needs to be announced this morning? I think we've got it all. Now we'd like to proceed to the next item on the agenda.
All right. You have words in your in your program, and you'll need them. You'll probably recognize the melody to the song, but this was a request. I was talking to my mom, and we were talking about some of the older songs, and I said, I like the sound of the song. I just can't. The words don't work for me. And so she said, okay. She came back like a week later, and these were the words, and I love them. So I share them with you. So please, join with me. It is the regular melody, just a little difference in the words. 1, 2, 3. We gotta walk this earthly highway. We gotta walk it for ourselves. No, nobody else can walk it for us. We gotta walk it for ourselves. Oh, Jesus walked this earthly highway. We had a mission here to do. He came to teach us that we're God's children, and what he did, we too can do. We gotta walk this earthly highway. We gotta walk it for ourselves. No, nobody else can walk it for us. We gotta walk it for ourselves. Sometimes we see a world of chaos where nothing seems to make much sense. But we can choose a new perception. We can choose peace instead of offense. Just say it with me. Here we go. You gotta walk this earthly highway. We gotta walk it for ourselves. No, nobody else can walk it for us. We gotta walk it for ourselves. Last slide. We gotta walk it for ourselves. Yeah. Woo! Amen. Good morning. Oh my gosh. All right. Now we have the thank you. We have Surely the Presence that we will sing. That's also in your book. It's right there. And it's the second one. And I have to take my glasses off because I can't see anymore. All right. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can hear its mighty power and its grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory in each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. One more time. Hey, surely the presence of love is in this place. I can hear its mighty power and its grace. There's a holy around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. And I just invite you to join me as I turn within. As I turn within to celebrate this one precious moment we call now. Resting in the peace and the love that we know to be part of that power, that one power and presence that dwells around and through and within each one of us. That power that goes by many names, but there is only one. And I embrace that power, and I know that I am one with that power. And as I know this to be true of myself, I know this to be true of each of you and everyone out into this world. That power is within. And I just embrace those lovely notes, lovely words that Darcy has brought to us this morning. The inspiration of her music, the gentle drumming. All of this inspiration is part of this moment in time. It lifts us. It lifts us and holds us in its embrace as this service moves forward with love and compassion and Reverend Julie's message and the healing. I know that we are part of this philosophy and we bring it out into the world gently and lovingly with the power that is so great. I'm grateful to be a part of this moment. I'm grateful to be part of this philosophy, and I'm so grateful to bring these words today and celebrate with you. And with gratitude in my heart, I simply release these words into the law, knowing they are done as spoken, and through grace so much more. Please join me in saying, and so it is. And we have the first of many affirmations today. Please join me as I align myself with the power of God. I am transformed. My wholeness is revealed. Ideas that no longer serve me are surrendered to the one power, and so it is. ask you to, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, skipping my turn.
My turn. Okay. Today's reading is from the Science of Mind magazine. The Rhythm of the Heart. From Rumi, give up to grace. The ocean takes care of each wave until it gets to shore. The next quote is about 2 paragraphs long, but it's from Ernest Holmes' Help for Today. To believe in God effectively means much more than simply asserting that you believe in a power greater than yourself. The presence of God to you must be an inner experience, a spiritual conviction that it is real. You must know that God is right where you are and not separate from you. Every time your heart beats, it is responding to an infinite rhythm no one ever fathomed. Every time you think, you are thinking creatively because your mind is one with the creative spirit. Out of the mind of God, you were created as a divine being. And as a divine being, you must recognize and know the source of that which created you out of itself, the creative spirit of God Almighty. Acknowledging that there is a power greater than anyone's personal will is vital to effective living. It affirms humility, balance, and a healthily proportioned ego. It's pretty obvious that a whole lot is going on in the cosmos that no individual had any part in creating, at least at the level of the individual, such as how the heart beats in rhythm, or how the colors paint an evening sky. Wow. But here's the wonderful paradox. While the human personality cannot circumscribe the fullness of the divine's nature, that nature expresses fully and simultaneously through each of us. Recognizing a higher power is a good start. Then we move to the realization that we are of one mind with that power. We think and feel into its creative process, manifesting conditions and experiences in return. Bonus affirmation. Each and every day, I live in the knowledge that God is over all and through all.
When I saw the topic today, it was very funny. I had kind of this burst of, I wonder what kind. The word healing is such an interesting word. And the idea that there is all kinds of things that require us to help them make themselves whole again, to find that spiritual connection. That's what I think of as healing. And a number of topics came to mind. But I have always loved this song because it says it's our opportunity. It's our opportunity to see things the way they truly are, to create the path that helps them find their way back into the flow of God and Spirit. And so the song says, let me walk to the banks of the river of love, where the current runs deep, baptized in the one, where there's no separation, and the light is all we see. Honoring our differences, love will set free. Oh, Mother, Father, now, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, now, there's a healing going on. more time. Oh, 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 rock my soul.
So you feel like standing up and getting healed today, right? Yeah, let's do it. Woo, all right. Thank you guys, Darcy and Mary. Whoa, which reminded me of a story. This one I think you know, but I couldn't resist it today. So you know, we're talking about healing. And so this guy goes into this Pentecostal church, and they're having a healing service, which is really cool. And he asked the pastor, "Can you pray for my hearing?" And the pastor puts his hands over the guy's ears, and he prays up a storm. He speaks in tongues in the name of Jesus. And when he was all done, and he took his hands off the man's head, he said, "How is your hearing now?" And the guy said, "Well, I don't know. It's not till next Wednesday." So, you know that one. Yeah. Yeah. So, I had to do it again. Yeah. It's too good. So, this month, I know it's not as good as Dawn, but, you know, I do the best I can. And there's no competition. No competition at all. Yeah, none. Okay, so this month we're talking about, our theme is power, and obviously today is the power to heal. And science and health have been a big passion of mine, for as long as I can remember, and healing the body, because it is nothing short of amazing. I mean, I have books on cells, and you guys might think that's boring. The things that go on in cells, you would be amazed. And I learned early it was important for me to know this information for my family. And then I was always looking for meaning, too, because it kind of all comes together, doesn't it? Everything is all one experience of living. And I got to tell you, when we ask for something, the answer is provided. Have you had that experience where you really, something in your heart, and you may not verbalize it, but it's something that you want to know, and something will turn up? So after my kids all got in school and I had time to read, I really started exploring, looking for the meaning of everything, and I came across Edgar Cayce. And some of you know who that is and have read about Edgar Cayce. And oh my God, I was so excited, this book. And so I thought, I got to find more about this. And are there other people out there? There must be. And so I looked in the back of the book. It had an address for Research and Enlightenment, Association for Research and Enlightenment. It was in Virginia Beach. So I immediately called them, and they said, "Well, you're in luck. There's a group in Portland, and they're having a retreat next weekend at Silver Falls State Park." So I called them, and they had one place left, and I signed up, and it was the most amazing experience for somebody where I was at that time in my life. It was like giving water to a thirsty person. I was like a sponge. And there was this one lady who was the leader of the retreat, just this really awesome lady. And we were in a circle, and I'm telling you, I was just absorbing everything. And she went behind everyone, and when she stood behind me there and put her hands on my shoulder, there was like this jolt of electricity that went through my body, extremely powerful. And wow, I had never felt anything like that. And I realized then that there is a force that I didn't know anything about, and that it came through her, but it's in all of us. There is this power. There is this power in this universe. Well, she was so connected to that it could actually come through her. and I could experience it. But see, it's in all of us. So the power to heal. Sounds like Star Wars, doesn't it? The Force. There's the Force. And our bodies, as you know, are built to heal. That they're it's just part of what our bodies are meant to do. And then the question is, why do we become ill? If this is supposed to be a universe of which we are one with that divine source, why do we become ill? Well, I guess there's a lot of reasons. Maybe our environment, poor genetics, poor choices that we've made. And if you believe in the continuum of life, perhaps maybe it's past life, ongoing experience, or we have come here to learn something, or it's an accident. But it's a mystery unfolding often. But because humans have faced this, been faced with illness and discomfort forever and ever since we first got consciousness. I won't know where we came from, but I won't get into that controversy. But where we first got consciousness, we've been looking to how to heal our bodies and our circumstances. And so in part of my research, and I just have tons of these books that I have been read over time and looking for a thread. And I just want you to see if you can see the thread with me today. And I told my husband on the way here, I said, oh my God, I hope you don't go to sleep. I'm going to keep aware if anybody's falling asleep. It feels like a lecture, but I'm just so excited about this subject. So, the Chinese, who had one up on us before we even existed, they, 1,500 years before the birth of Christ, because we always kind of tag something to that time. We can sort of remember that. They had come up with healing modalities and have been studying healing. And what the ultimate bottom line was, a person is healthy when harmony exists between two forces. Illness, on the one hand, results in the breakdown in the equilibrium of the yin and the yang. So to be in harmony with all, to be in harmony with ourselves. And the Navajo, my grandparents had a house in Arizona, and it was right in the middle of surrounded by reservation on three sides. And there were Navajos and Hopis and Comanches and different tribes down there. And I was going to tell you a story, but I'll skip it. It would make me look dumb, so I'll skip it. But the Navajos view health as being in balance and harmony between the individual and their environment. And they believe that illness and disease are caused by disruption of this balance and harmony, which can be due, obviously to a number of factors. And the Hopis, which have a reservation around there too, believe that human beings are made up of three components: body, mind, spirit. And that health is achieved when there is harmony between these three. Unwellness comes with disharmony. And I looked up a bunch of others that weren't around there. And that theme of goes through everything. This idea of being in balance with nature, being in harmony with ourselves. And think about how being in harmony feels. It's like music. To be in harmony is a delightful experience. And to this dissonance when it's not. It's uncomfortable. And then, of course, Jesus. Now, so the harmony, and then I looked at balance, and harmony and balance, but then we come to Jesus. And what do we get here? Aside from dying, he's most famous for his parables, right? And with us, I think the parables resonate more than the crucifixion. But what he and others in that time said was it's our belief, our faith, that conditions our life and health. So remember a couple parables. There was the parable of the woman who had been hemorrhaging for a very, very long time. And she had heard about Jesus, and they were in this procession. And she just thought, if I can just touch his cloak, perhaps I will be healed. And so she went and she got close enough to him that she touched his cloak. And he turned around because, and I love this part, I don't know how much attention's paid to it, but he felt the power going out of him. He had this power within him that we all do, but he was keenly, evidently aware of that. And this parable shows up in all of the Gospels, so it's pretty much considered to be authentic. And he turned around, and you can imagine how embarrassed she was. And he said, "Who touched my clothes?" And she said, "I did." And she told about her illness, and he said, the bleeding immediately stopped, and he said to her, "Your faith has made you whole." Your faith has made you whole. Not touching the garment, but her faith had made her whole. Not Jesus, but her faith had made her whole. We hear about that in the idea that it's our beliefs. It's our beliefs. And the other parable that I just love, because it's anyway. Jesus he goes all over the place, but he's at this pond called Bethany. And the idea and the belief of the people is when the wind blows across the waters and the waters are stirred, the first person who gets in it will be healed. And so Jesus comes marching along, and he sees this guy laying there, and obviously he cannot walk or do anything. And he says, "What is your problem?" He said, "Well, I can't get in the water fast enough." He said, "Every time the water moves," and I guess it's only one person gets healed at a time. I don't know. That's the way it reads. "I can't get down there." And Jesus said, "Just pick up your bed and walk." And I don't know. I always thought Jesus sounded a little disgusted because he was, making excuses all the time. And then yesterday when I was reading this, I thought, well, maybe that's my interpretation. Maybe that wasn't what Jesus felt at all. But maybe he was much kinder. So, and our own teaching, Phineas Quimby, which any of you who have been in this teaching a long time know about Phineas Quimby, who was a clockmaker in Maine. And he dabbled in hypnosis, and in doing this, he was working with someone, and the guy could tell what was wrong with people, and then he would tell them, and the people would do better and be healed. And so Quimby came to believe that it wasn't the hypnosis, and it wasn't the guy he was hypnotizing to tell him, but people's belief. They had the wrong idea about what was going on. And so he began to teach that. People came by the hundreds, and this is written up. It's not just in our tradition. It's written up. If you go back, if you want to be scholarly enough, and go back and look at the materials and the writings and the newspapers and all that. Hundreds of people came to him, and he convinced them that it was just in their heads, that they weren't really sick, and they went away healed. I mean, just hundreds of people. Among them, well, of course, the one that we know are Mary Baker Eddy, and I don't think we're quite as familiar with the ones that became the foundation for our tradition. But it was just amazing. So what he thought was that he had rediscovered the teachings of Jesus that had been lost. And so that's one of the foundations of our teaching, this idea of healing. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with Unity, but the Fillmores that started Unity, Myrtle Fillmore was very ill, and she went to a lecture. This was before Ernest Holmes, and she went to a lecture by someone who had been studying the materials of the people who wrote up what Quimby did, and it just struck her. She had tuberculosis, and she had very little time to live. It struck her, and she had this mantra that she said, I am a child of God. Therefore, I cannot inherit illness. And at first, I just thought of that as an affirmation. But then when you get what she was saying, I am a child of God. We inherit from our parent figure. If I'm a child of God, I cannot inherit illness. And she got it, and she said it over and over again, and she was healed from her tuberculosis. And of course, they went on to found Unity, which grew out of a prayer group, a healing group, a prayer group. Oh my God, you guys, there is so much. When I was studying Edgar Cayce, and I won't get into who he is, you can go look him up if you haven't read it. I mean, he was a psychic that went into a trance and could read people's bodies and what was going on with them. It was huge in the early part of the 20th century. Many, many notable people went to see Edgar Cayce. What he said, because people would ask for readings, they called them readings, not just about their physical health, but about their whole life journey. But ultimately what he said, mind is the builder, spirit is life, mind is the builder, the physical is the result. And I have that in my journals. Spirit is the life. Mind is the builder. Physical is the result. And you see, I know this. And you guys, I have some physical things going on. This wasn't in my talk because I didn't want to tell. But that I actually know where they come from. And I know what my mind has been doing. And I have watched it. And I don't want to give it up yet. Because I'm so enjoying being resentful. No, I'm not kidding. Because to give it up would mean a whole bunch of stuff. You know, and mostly I don't think about it. But I totally get this, you guys. When I'm feeling that way or when I'm feeling upset, I can literally feel it in the cells of my body. Can any of you? Mm-hmm. We do. We do. And then, it's okay. We'll give up what we want to give up when we're ready to give it up or when it hurts bad enough. Or it's not always about feeling better, I guess, physically. I don't know. I can't judge that for anybody or everybody. We're on a journey. And sometimes this is about a revelation for our soul. It's always soul work, isn't it? It's always soul work. So I don't know what soul work is happening for each one of us. And it may be hard to understand. It may be hard to understand. But I trust there is something underneath it. That there is soul work going on, no matter what the circumstance looks like. We can ask for enlightenment on what that is. Or we can accept that it is. You know, I've been doing the serenity prayer a lot. And it dawned on me after all these years, how's it go? Somebody want to say it for me? God grant me the wisdom to grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot accept, to change the things I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it struck me, oh my God, I love that serenity prayer. Just the serenity I to accept. But then I realized there's a glitch in there. It's the wisdom to know the, the wisdom part. Ooh, that's calling us to deeper level. I just got that. And I'm kind of slow. But, so, and then modern science. Oh my God, it's so cool. We think in terms of genetics. We've got our gene code, and boy, that's really big stuff now. But here's the deal. Rarely is the gene modified. It can happen. It can happen that something happens in the genes in our life that modifies that. But the gene code basically stays the same our whole life. But what happens in the study of epigenetics is that there are chemical tags or markers, just to be simple. They're like little caps that go on a gene. Chemical markers that we've got our DNA and it pops on top of those little genes. Either allows it to express or prevents it from expressing. The genetic code does not change. Now, here's the interesting thing about this, and there's so much research being done on this now. You can just get lost in it. Those chemical tags are a result of many things. Our environment, our attitudes, our attitudes, our experiences, and the experiences often of our ancestors, like a generation or two back. It's amazing. You can just go read about this and read some of the studies. So the thing that really intrigued me, I get, our environment's going to affect us and we're going to have reactions. And if we get in toxic things, it's going to affect how everything goes on in our body. But what about the toxic things we create in our mind? It has the same effect, you guys, because it doesn't distinguish between toxins and toxins. Toxins are toxins. Yeah. Fascinating. I mean, okay, so, and then I want to just talk about one other thing, and it's our attitudes. Because I found this really fascinating, and I had a very bad experience last night going to feed my horses. Somebody pulled out and bumped my car. And I was not happy, and I was not kind. They didn't know that, but I wasn't. And, and then, of course, I have to get up here and talk about attitude. But what I want to warn you is do what I say, not what I do. Okay. So, because I know a lot of this stuff after all these years. It's the practice, isn't it? God, I know. So Dr. David and Suzanne Felton, who are quite noted in their field, and you know this, Candace Pert, you may have read Candace Pert's books, discovered nerve fibers that link the nervous system and the immune system, suggesting that every time we have a thought or a feeling, hormones are released that somehow send a message to the immune system. And they cited the study at UCLA where they had actors and actresses come in and they were given a part to play and get into the feelings of that and generate the emotions. Because emotions are, what really drives our inner chemical system. It's a two-way street, and then it gets trained and it goes back to us. But while they did this, their blood was being monitored. And the hormones were there were subtle changes in the hormone levels depending on the scenario that they were imagining. Subtle changes in the hormone levels. Just by imagining things. But, half of our reality is our imagination, isn't it? Yeah, it's amazing what we can do with that. So this is all very interesting, and of course we could go on. Well, I've already gone on and on. But but how can we become more healthy? So we know all this, but how can we become more healthy? I read something. A Dr. Dean Ornish, you know him. I've heard of him. And a lot of people just think of him as diet and heart doctor and lifestyle. But he has this book out called Love and Survival. And I was reading into it, and he said this. Love from his studies and his experience as a doctor and other studies, love and intimacy are among the most powerful factors in health and illness. Love and intimacy. At the root of what makes us sick and what makes us well. And what causes sadness and what brings us suffering and what leads us to healing. And I thought, well, love is really a multifaceted word, and we can get lost in the weeds with that word. So how do we love? And I always think of Corinthians, chapter 13. I'm going to read this, so hang on. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Now, I love that. I have that printed off. But you guys, that's a lot. Isn't it? I mean, I do have that printed off, and you go through it. Oh, I didn't do that today. Didn't do that today. So it was a lot of not doing, don't do's. And it was a little bit overwhelming for me. And I thought, how about something simpler that affects our whole body? Because the world can offer up a lot of unpleasantness and a lot of devastating experiences, along with the joys and beauty experiences. So if you look, every medical advice, if you want to go on the internet or read a book, you got it. You've got it memorized, I'm sure. The ways you will find to be healthy. Exercise regularly. We're all doing that. Check that off. Get plenty of sleep. Eat a Mediterranean diet. We're not going to go downstairs and eat brownies, right? Remain socially involved. Keep your blood vessels healthy and keep your mind healthy. Okay, we know all those, and if we're doing all those, I want to say we probably love ourselves a lot. But I thought, there's something beyond that. When he talks about, they don't talk about love like Dean Ornish does. And I got how that might be the ingredient that underpins it all. So the prescription, I think, for the journey to health is to extend ourselves in love. And what I want to say, because love is one of those big words, is do something nice for a stranger as well as a friend. Something simple. That we can wrap our hands around, can't we? Corinthians is really good, and it's big. And I just get in a lot of judgment about myself. And what I have read in many, many places, when we do that, our body releases endorphins. Have you ever gone through a drive-through and someone ahead just paid for your order? Or maybe you have done the same for the person behind you. How fun that is. I have a little story, and it's kind of a silly little story, and it was decades ago, but because of the nature of it, it's really stuck with me. I was downtown Portland one time, and I had this overwhelming need for a cookie. And there was this counter that had cookies. I think that's where the need came from. And so I thought, so I ordered a cookie, and he handed it to me. I already had it in my hand. And then I looked at my purse, and I had no money. It was so embarrassing. Well, I don't know if you've ever been there or not. I had no money. And this guy next to me paid for my cookie. Now, how much money was that? Not much. But it was like such a big thing for me, and I was so embarrassed. But I remember that to this day. He paid for my cookie. How many of you wanted a chocolate or a cookie and you just had to have it? Yeah. And the little things like that. So what can we do for our health and the health of the person around us? If, we can do something like that. But I thought, we can listen. We can actively listen to hear another person. Or we can give up assumptions about what's going on with them if they're in an upset mood. Because we don't know, do we? And we can smile. Now, in some cultures, that's going to be like, what is wrong with that person? But we need to be appropriate, I guess. But we can smile at somebody. It doesn't matter if they smile back. These are little things we can do. And our endorphin level is going to change, you guys. It is literally going to change. And then one other thing. Pray. Like if I can't sleep at night or something, I have a way I learned to meditate. Someone taught me when I didn't know anything about it. As I visualize the light and energy flowing through me, and it has this effect of just chilling my whole body. Because we have this crown chakra and just the energy flowing through us, vitalizing our whole body. We can feel it. We can feel it. To pray for someone else without them even knowing it. And I don't mean pray for them to be nicer, but to see, I know, Catherine, that's okay. But just to see the presence of God in them. That's the way to do it, just to see their holiness, because it's there. These are little things we can do about healing. And when Dean Ornish talks about love being the most powerful healing force. And as Casey said, spirit is the life, mind is the builder, and the physical is the result. So namaste, you guys. Have a healthy week.
Yep. State of mind. State of mind. How many times have we talked about state of mind? State of mind. You've got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Oh, then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. Oh, waiting at the station with the workday wind blowing, I've got nothing to do but watch the passers-by. Oh, mirrored in their faces, I see frustration growing, and they don't see it showing. Why do I? Oh, you smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Oh, and people gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. Yeah, I have often asked myself the reason for the sadness in a world where tears are just a lullaby. Oh, and if there's any answer, love can end the madness. Maybe not, but we should always try. Oh, you got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Oh, and people gonna treat you better. They're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Ooh, beautiful. You're beautiful as you feel. I publicly thank my friend Mary. We step in and we do this, and I love having company here with me. So please thank Mary for.
We've reached a time in our service this morning where we get to experience the joy of giving. The joy of giving our presence, of course, is here. The joy of giving to each other the love that we have in our hearts, and the joy of giving funds, money, that provides for the continuation of our wonderful chapel. So there's an offertory affirmation that there's in your program. Please join me as we read it together. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
We have a song in our program, Blessed Always. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surrounds us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say, Amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say, Amen.
And so it is. We accept these wonderful gifts in the spirit that they are given. The love in the hearts of each of us that is manifest here is a wonder to behold and a joy to experience. We just accept it all and give thanks. And so it is. You might like to stand now, and we can recite our prayer of protection, which most of us know by heart. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let's join hands and sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let Let this be the moment.